Hey, mighty men of God, Joe Martin here with Real Men Connect, where we help good men become great men God's way by connecting them to successful husbands, great fathers, and strong leaders. Obviously, there's no real man right along. I'm in my kitchen today, but I wanted to shoot this quick video. I went to church earlier today. Been watching football. Go Dolphins. um, and I was thinking about the sermon that our pastor preached this morning. He talked about the little things meaning a lot. He said the little things are big things that mean a lot. Well, I don't think little things mean a lot. I think they mean everything. And I wanted to tackle it from a different angle with you, and that's why I wanted to shoot this video. A lot of times I hear from men, young, old, middle age, it doesn't matter, whether it be by text message or in person or when I'm speaking. And the challenge, or at least the question that I get asked all the time, especially when men have hit a certain place in their life that they're not happy with their position. They say things, and I've said it myself, so I'm just as guilty of saying things when we find ourselves in a place we don't want to be, is how did I get here? I don't know what happened, Joe. Thought I was moving in this direction and I ended up in this place where I didn't want to be. Or a deviation on that question may be something like, Joe, I don't even recognize where I am right now. This is not the man I wanted to be. This thing that I've been caught up in, that I didn't see how it got out of control. That may be a way that they ask the question. Or another way they may say it may be from the standpoint is that this doesn't make sense. How did I get so lost? Thought I was making the right choices and I went left. And how did I get so far off the course of where I wanted to be? So you get the picture. Basically, what they're saying is that how did it get this bad? And when they say this bad, it could be anything from their relationships. How do they end up being divorced? It could be in reference to an addiction, or how did I get so far that this thing has destroyed my life? Or it can be on their job or in their finances. Wow, I never saw myself being in this financial situation. You get the point. And so a lot of times we are looking for answers because we don't understand what happened. Well, I'm going to tackle it and give you a different perspective, that I want you to really think about your life and think about all the areas of your life, whether it be spiritually, emotionally and mentally, physically, especially physically, financially, is when we get to a place that we intended not going and we look around and we say, how did I get there from here? And so I got an answer to that, and I want you to really think about it, because I constantly go through this through my head when I look back on my life and some of the mistakes that I've made. And here's how I think we do that without us not knowing. And it starts with the word compromise. Let me say that again. It starts with the word compromise. See, we make little compromises when it comes to doing the right thing, doing it God's way, following God's will. That we make these little compromises in our faith and in our choice making and our values, that it takes us off course. You know, I have a saying that the good things to do are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. Let me say that again. Some of the best things for us to do are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. Example, I'm not a big water drinker, and my wife is always telling me that I need to drink more water. She said, Joe, that's one of the first things you can do when it comes to your health and exercise. Well, drinking water is an easy thing to do, but it's also an easy thing not to do. And after a while, I may compromise on that, and it leads me to a place where I'm dehydrated, that my health is declining as a result of it. You get the point. And so I want you to look at your life, and when it comes to your finances, are there compromises that you've been making that is slowly turning you off course? When it comes to your relationship, when we make those compromises, no, I won't go to my daughter's recital today because I really need to stay late at the office to make additional resource and make additional money. You know what? We're going to postpone that vacation that me and my wife should go on because, right now it's really stressful right now at the job. And so we start making these small compromises, even in our spiritual life. I know I need to spend more time with God, and God understands that I can't get up this early in the morning because I'm really tired when I get off from work. Or I'll start reading my Bible next week, or start going to church next week. And the list goes on and on. But it's those compromises, those small compromises in the moment of choice that tends to veer us off the course and gets us to a place we don't want to be. But it doesn't seem to be that serious at the moment. Now, why is these small compromises such a big deal? Because listen to me, once you compromise, compromise leads you to corrosion. Let me say that again. Compromise leads you to corrosion. Corrosion of your values, your morals, your conscience, your spirit. So those little compromises, see, we can't always control the results and the things that happen to us, but it's in the moment of choice that dictates what direction we're headed in. So if we make a choice to compromise, it starts to corrode our good conscience, our good spirit man, and the things that we want to do that we know is most important to us. And now, if we compromise, then it leads to corrosion. But guess what? If we continue to let our values and our conscience be corroded and our spirit man gets corroded, guess what that also leads to? Then that leads to corruption. To corruption. Now, what's the difference between corrosion and corruption? Corrosion is slowly molding us and slowly getting us off course. Where when it comes to corruption, now when it comes down to making those moment of choices, now because we've been corroded so much, now corruptions enters or the enemy enters into our heart, into our spirit, and now it seems easier to make the bad choice because we're now corrupted from the inside out. And last but certainly not least, if you start compromising on the small things and you start corroding your spirit man and your conscience and your morals and your ethics and values, then it leads to corruption, which eventually leads to collapse. It leads to collapse. That's when we end up in that place where we hit that brick wall, or some people like to say rock bottom, when we hit that end of the road and we say, God, how did I get here? Because we've now just collapsed and it doesn't make any sense. So when we get to that place, all we need to do is look back and start at the beginning. Where did I make small compromises? Where did I decide I said, well, it won't matter this time, or it's not that big of a deal, or I'll fix it later. These are small compromises in our conscience that we make. And God being so sovereign, he sees the beginning from the end, and he knows where we're going. He knows where we've been, and he knows that in those moment of choices that he gives us his Holy Spirit to guide us in all spirit and in truth, to coach us through those situations. But then we tend to ignore the Holy Spirit. And then we make those small compromises, which ends up leading to corrosion, into corruption, and then eventually to a collapse. Guys, I hope you meditate on this and you really think about what we just shared and look back at your life in each area of your life, from your finances to your spiritual life and everything in between, especially your physical man. What compromises are you making that is slowly taking you off the course of being the man that God called and created you to be? Now, if this has blessed you, please share this message with other men, because it could be a blessing to them that you may not even be aware of. So as always, remember, we are males by birth, but we are men by choice. So we must not compromise that choice and make it every day to be a man 24/7 because others are watching us, because a male is a terrible thing to waste. So until next time, be blessed, stay strong, and most of all, stay in his grip.